Welcome, this is episode 5 and it's Squarespace Typography Secrets. This is part 1 and I will try and get parts 2 and 3 out later in the week. Okay, so number 1, how many typefaces should I use on my Squarespace website? I would say the answer is 2. Now some of you may argue it should be a lot more than that because of all the different options you have in Squarespace. It's very, very easy to add typefaces. But as I'm going to describe, it's not just a case of 2 options. If we have a look at this example here, in the top there, well, words can be spelled by ring. In that top example, that is different typefaces, and you can kind of see the difference there if you look at the G. So it is different typefaces. But another option is not to change the typeface, but change the actual weight of the same typeface. So if you can see the bottom example there, we've got the further on the bottom, it is bold, but it's still the same typeface. Now that gives you more options. So it's not just a case of 1 or 2 options. You can use many different weights within the same typeface, and that just gives you more options to design the way that you want. So what typefaces in terms of sans serif and serif? It's a good rule to use one sans serif typeface and one serif typeface. You can have all your headings, another good rule is to have all your headings, your H1, 2, 3, etc. in serif, and then all your paragraph and other elements in sans serif. And you can also do vice versa of that, as we'll see in this example. So at the top there we've got Adele Sans on for the headline, and then we've got, say that's paragraph text, and we've got Adele PE, which is a serif font. And again, on the bottom it's just inverted. Adele PE on the top, which is serif, and then on the bottom we have Adele Sans, which is sans serif. So that's a really good rule to go by if you're wondering, because there's so many different options when you start designing something. There are literally tens of thousands, if not millions, of combinations you can have. But just to get started, and many successful websites, they just have a sans serif and a serif font alternating between their headers and their body content and their list items. So you can just go with 2 typefaces, sans serif and serif. So number 3 is accessibility. So let's have a look at the text there in the top right. As you can see, it's kind of like a pinky kind of ready text. The problem there is that some people with possible vision issues or some kind of maybe condition of the eyes, they are going to struggle, or just someone slightly older, they're going to struggle to read those words on that page. And you really, every single bit of text you put on a website, you should really try and test it with some kind of accessibility checker, and that's what that tool at the bottom screenshot is. If we look at the second example here, now that is a much darker text on the same white background. If you look at the score there, the previous example was just over 3, and that's come back with a score of nearly 16. So you can see there, it's a much higher contrast between the text and the background, and it's just something that you would really have to do on websites to make them accessible. Accessibility, there's a lot more to accessibility than just a color contrast check of text, but it's a really good kind of to get a foothold on accessibility and build up from there. But really you should be checking all certainly your main body text and background colors on a tool like this. And one other thing to mention is that you may think, well, it doesn't look good, but you've got to try and put accessibility before looking good and aesthetics of things. Accessibility really is an important part of web design. Okay, so that kind of concludes this short video tutorial. So a few guidelines I've said is just try and keep things simple. 2 typefaces is more than enough, and as I've shown in the example, you can use different weights within the same typeface to kind of get a different look, but still kind of consistent within the single typeface. And generally it's not a bad rule, even if you just start off with a sans serif on the heading and then a serif on the body, or invert that. And it's just a good rule to go by having just a sans serif and a serif font alongside each other. And final point is just to think about accessibility, as I've demonstrated there. I'll put the link to the accessibility tool in the mediasurgery.co.uk notes, and I'll try and put it in the YouTube video comments as well. But that concludes this short video. Watch out for parts 2 and parts 3. And thanks for watching. And if you have any questions, just leave them in the YouTube comments. I will pick that up every couple of days. Okay, thanks for watching.